Okay, so here are some things that you could focus on. You could think about integrating the scale, integrating the harmony. So I'll give you some examples. These might be patterns that I would play out of the C major scale. Left hand patterns helps me to learn the scale better. Or 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 it doesn't matter how hard the pattern is. In fact, don't make it so hard. We don't want to make it like a memory exercise. So if it's just, that's great, because within that pattern you can still integrate. Now, within the patterns, what I personally like to do is improvise my bow. So if we take this pattern, there's like 12 different bowings that I could use for each of those cells, right? It can be 4 notes per bow. It could be 8 notes per bow. It could be, by the way, I can start the pattern on any one of 4 places. So instead of, I could start here or here. You see what I mean? You can displace the pattern to start on a different subdivision. You can improvise the bow. You can experiment with different fingerings, playing in second position, playing in third position. You can play on one string if you're a shifter. Another thing you can do is you can do rhythms with the bow. So the way I do that is I might play, cover my strings with my hands, and then just lightly scrape the bow across the string. So I'm just letting my fingers fall here, and then this kind of thing. And I can come up with lots of fun patterns, lots of fun rhythms. So that's a great exercise too, just to work on with the right arm, integrating the rhythm. And then finally, to work on improvisation with constraints. If you want to focus more on your creativity, then you can place constraints upon yourself. And those constraints can be emotional constraints, technical constraints, musical constraints, or other kinds of constraints. Basically, the constraints or the parameters conform to the infinite elements in the universe. But I break those into 4 categories, which are feelings, techniques, musical elements, and anything else. So it's okay, what's a feeling? Sad. Okay, so I'm just going to think about the idea of sad and then play whatever I want. Whatever you play doesn't actually have to be literally sad or not sad, because what is that? That doesn't mean anything to me anyway, right? But then if it's technical, well, technique, we could play pizzicato, we could play double stops, we could play string crossings, we could do anything that's technical to the right arm or the left arm. Musical elements, I like to use phrase length, phrase shape, melodic rhythm, rhythmic durations. Form of a solo, for example, could be like, I'm going to play A and then B, and then A and then C, or I'm going to play A, B, A. The form could correspond to a melodic shape or a rhythmic shape. So those are all your options, all the things you can work on and more. Be purposeful about it. And the thing is that you get to choose. It all comes from your intention and your values. It's like it starts with, well, what is important to you right now? What is the gig that you have coming up? Or what is the thing that you want to cultivate in your music? You get to decide the things that are most important to you. And then from that, you develop this, you put your time, energy, and attention into that thing in your practice. And maybe it's 2 or 3 things at the same time. Maybe it's internalizing the scale and rhythm and the balance of leaving space in your solo. So you can decide what that is, but I would invite you to write it down. I would invite you to go back to what is my intention of this practice? Because it's also about your intention. Is your intention to quote unquote get better?